welcome to another episode of Georgia Boys Outdoors. As you can see behind me, on my shirt and on the back, we had the Falcon special today. Well, I probably haven't gotten to where I can edit this video by the time the Falcons are already Super Bowl champs. Hopefully we'll have it up before then, but if not, we'll see. My guess is that the Falcons are going to win by 4 points or less. We'll see how that goes. Alright guys, here we have the mystery bag. Oh, goodness. This bag contains my favorite lures, just like the Falcons have my favorite players, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Vic Beasley, of course. Everyone, I hope the game goes really well. So we'll start off by drawing something. Alright, a buzzbait. Simple. Slow retrieve across the top, fast retrieve across the top. It's very versatile. You can run it almost over anything. I often run it over, I've got like a mat of weeds, and I see a bunch of holes opening, and I don't feel like doing a topwater frog. I'll run this across because the hook is on top. Now this one has a small hook here. It's just a cheap one. I think I paid $5 for a pack of 3 or 4 with the trailers. This one I have a trailer on because I was fishing in an area for bigger fish. The tails actually got bit off. I was fishing in Florida with it, and a small gator came up, got the end. But these are great for when the water's warm, early morning. I've even caught them midday. It's really just a versatile bait. It can be used on almost any body of water. I tend to fish it towards the shore. If I'm fishing on the shore, I fish parallel to the shore. They seem to love it. They've also got them in various colors. I prefer using black or white. Depends on the setup. If there's a lot of shad running that day, I'll tend to use a white. Cloudy skies, I'll pull out the black and catch them that way. Let's see what comes next out of here. Swim baits. Love these for bigger bass. I'm kidding, I don't actually use this big 6-inch out there on the lakes. I mean, I guess I could, but this color pattern does not tend to do very well up here. It could imitate a shad or a bluegill. Guess I'll have to try that sometime. We'll do a video on that sometime. I tend to rig up a paddle tail swim bait, usually on a medium-sized jig head, or even Texas rigged, or on a swim bait hook. I don't have any of those right now. I need to get some more. If any of y'all want to send them in, go ahead. Just let me know. This one I unfortunately put in a bag with a bright yellow chartreuse and a red worm. Completely forgot that the dye will come out of it into the white swim bait. So this one is multicolored. Don't know if I'm ever going to be able to use that for much, but we'll try. This one, I've actually caught a, I believe, 16-inch yellow snapper on. We were trolling it behind a sailboat in the Virgin Islands, about 4 knots, I'd say, and came up, hit it right on the top. Okay, this one I love. When the bass start spawning soon, I know it's early February, but the temperatures are very warm for this time of year. I believe it got to 64 today. It was 70 yesterday, 70 the day before. It's really unseasonably warm, so the bass will start spawning soon. If you can find a bed, which you do always need to make sure that you're being careful in bed fishing to make sure you release the bass very quick back to their bed so they can protect it. But if you run one of these across the bed, I can guarantee you that bass will hit it. Almost 9 out of 10 times, they will hit a bluegill pattern square bill. I love these because the bass bed up short, up in the shallow water. The bluegill pattern is just perfect for triggering the strike. And even when the bluegill are bedding, there's bass sitting off to the side waiting for the smaller bluegill that just can't really fend out there for themselves. You run that in front of them, he'll just reach out and grab it. This one does have a black dot, like a shad. So this one could also trigger more of the bass that are feeding on the shad. But perfect one for really any time. Wintertime, sometimes the bass will hit it if you just slow roll it across the bottom, bump it into rocks, timber, whatever. Summertime, fishing up short towards cover. It's great because as it goes, if it hits something, it pops up. instead of digging the hooks down into said cover, it'll pop up and up over the rocks, which is always great. I believe this one sinks, so you do have to have a faster retrieve as you reel it in. It's a perfect bait for almost any time. Alright, let's see what's next. Alright here, the beloved shaky head. Let's see if I can get it off. Okay. So here, I've got a little beaver style, sapphire blue, Berkeley, I believe. Sapphire blue crawl beaver style bait. Great for whenever you're just going to flip and pitch into cover. Great for that up into timber. If it's Texas rigged, which you should on a shaky head, then you don't have to worry about getting snagged. You do want to make sure that the hook is far enough there. Like this one, I don't have far enough there. I can't hook myself as I go across. I can press in and feel it, but you want to make sure that the hook is out enough exposed to where if the bass bites it, you can set the hook real easy. Great for wintertime fishing if you need to. You can pitch it out super far, super deep, just kind of slow, hop it on the bottom. Works great for that. Bass tend to hit it a lot. Now, here's one that I love to use, especially in Florida. It's a white trickworm, which you can see again has been set in a bag with another redworm. My mistake there. The tail end on these tends to float. So we'll sit there like that. And the bass, you know, cold wintertime bass, they love to hit just things that sit there. Every now and then I'll shake it. Sometimes if that's not working out, I'll do a summer style and I'll just pop it a lot. And it looks a lot like a shad or other bait fish feeding on the bottom. These white zoom trickworms. I usually get the bigger one because if need be, I believe I have the 8-inch. As you can see with this one, I bit off about 2 inches off the end. That way, you can always have the perfect size bait for whatever the situation is. I had these 8-inch worms. I was catching 5 and 6-inch bass because I cut it down to about 4 inches on one of them. This one, I'd say, is 5 or 6 inches. Great for anything from the 8 to whatever size. You could have a 10-pound bass hit one of these trickworms. It's a great idea for anytime fishing. Let's see what we got next. I think I know what this is. Alright, oh, too many. Alright, here is one of my all-time favorite lures. Okay, favorite lures all time, right here. This one I found at a yard sale. I need to replace the hooks on it. I have not tried it yet, but from my understanding of how fishing works, you know, this should be a great lure. So it's a chrome underneath with a nice orange to yellow to black paint job of a jointed popper. These are very nice lures. They're very hard to find. Usually you'll just find a single one like this. But these jointed poppers, I've heard, have done very well. It's a nice large one. The orange, you know, you got the red-breasted sunfish, yellow perch. For those areas with those fish, these should be key. Now this one is just a simple chrome and black, red mouth. I love using these any time of year. If the bite is slow in the afternoon on everything else, I will throw one of these on and usually end up with a nice bass. I love fishing with them. They are somewhat cheap. This is a mini size, as you can tell. Here's a full-size large and extra large one. So this one here is great for situations where you're just casting close to the bank, popping it, just running it. Careful if you're fishing in Florida. Alligators will take these. Many alligators have taken my lures without me knowing. Especially topwaters, they're able to zero in, especially if you're letting it sit there. But just a great all-around lure. You can give in many colors. I prefer the chrome ones. I just have always had more luck on them. But you might see me using these in a lot of my videos. Let's see what's next. Yes. Texas rig. Okay? favorite setup all time for any type of soft plastic. You can throw it in almost any situation, any soft plastic. I've had so much luck, especially in Florida. As you know, I do a couple trips. I'm gonna try to upload some videos from there next time. But these red, I believe it's called Morotholite worms by Zoom, have just done the trick down there. There's just something about them. I couldn't track down anymore, so I found these Zoom red shad pattern. Love it. Absolutely love them. The bass seem to completely destroy these things. I'll often just throw them weightless, like I have here. I don't have lines, so I don't have a weight. If not, just a small weight, if that. You want to get the action as you hop it around if you're using a trick worm. If you're running anything else, it comes down to what the situation is. But red Texas rigged worms have just been the key for me. I've caught many fish. It's a numbers situation. I don't know that I've caught many big fish. That's what I use other lures for. But if I'm just trying to search for them, I will throw one of these almost all the way around the pond. I will go and throw it into every situation, and I usually end up with a lot of bites. This is a, I'm not sure what brand. A Booyah, yeah, Booyah, some type of frog. Got kind of a leopard print on it. One thing that I always do whenever I get it is I take the lure, I flip it upside down, and I hold the legs down, and then I cut them off right there near the bottom. Okay? Because a lot of times they put long legs on these things. That, a lot of times, will end up with short strikes, which means less fish. You don't want to just taking it by the legs, setting the hook, and it coming right back out. So I trim them down, and sometimes I'll even pull one side down a little more. It makes it look and swim a little more like an injured frog. The bass will be more likely to chase it down. Throw this up into anything. Less effective if you're fishing open water. Throwing it up into trees, you have the chance of it taking it under a log. But the weedless aspect of it is great. Throw it across the lily pads. Done that many times. Just weed mats. Anything that you can't get another lure into, throw this in there. If you find a hole, throw it. You can rip that baby out. Use higher pound test whenever you're fishing with one of these, because the abrasion will begin to cut it down, and whenever you hook into the 5-10 pounder, your 10-15 pound test magically breaks. Make sure to use a medium to heavy action rod. You need to have a lot of backbone to hook this into the roof of the fish's mouth, because as you do know, it is a weedless setup, so the hooks aren't just going to set themselves. Sometimes I will take pliers and bend them outward some. It makes the weedless it doesn't make it as weedless, but hookup ratio, if you're having trouble hooking up with the bass that keeps hitting short, bend them out, you should be good. Be sure you trim the tail. And I've done so many different actions. I've just run this thing across the water as quick as I could. I've done a stop and pop. I love the poppin' frogs. I don't have one on me, but if you have a poppin' frog, best type of frog I can think of. They really need a lot more credit for what they do get. Walking the dog is a common approach to it. Really depends on your setup. If you're fishing if you're fishing in a weeded area, you usually can't walk the dog. You just kind of pop it around wherever. Stop it in holes. If there's a hole in the weeds or anything else, stop it there and let it sit a couple seconds, twitch it, and you should be good. Well, that's all the lures that we have for today from the Falcon bag. Let me know what your favorite lure was down in the comments. We've got tons and tons of different types. If you really think that one of these isn't the best lure of all time and you want to debate it in the comments, go ahead. I will respect that. Just keep it clean down there. And, well, I hope that you got a little something out of this, and you're able to catch more fish. Thanks for tuning in to Georgia Boys Outdoors. See ya.